One of the most common reasons we see for life insurance benefit denials is the insurance company tells you that they're not paying you benefits because you failed to convert your group employee-based policy to an individual policy after you became disabled from working. Well, I want to tell you a story about a client that we represented with just that scenario, but we were able to win, so don't give up. You can still win benefits when the insurance company says they don't have to pay you because of a failure to convert to an individual policy. Hi, I'm McNamara, and after spending years representing insurance companies in cases like this, we switched sides and started representing only individuals against insurance companies who unfairly deny claims. Insurance companies across the country, and I mean the big insurance companies, the Prudentials, the MetLifes, the New York Lifes, you name it, they deny life insurance claims on the basis of a failure to convert to an individual policy every day across the country. And these claims can be won, and I'll give you an illustration from a recent client we represented who had been denied for failure to convert. And this is one client's story. We've represented dozens of clients with the same very, very similar scenario, and it might be something that you recognize the issue you're dealing with. Well, a gentleman, a nice husband and father of 3, unfortunately had a diagnosis of cancer, terminal cancer. So he left his employment. He was still actually employed. He was never terminated, but he went out on long-term disability. There was no doubt in anybody's mind that he was headed toward a terminal issue within the next year to 18 months. Well, he and his wife went to his employer and said, we want to make sure all of our insurances are in place, because he had employment-based health care coverage. He had employment-based life insurance coverage. And so they wanted to make sure they maintained that coverage because he was definitely going to have plenty medical bills. He definitely needed to rely on the long-term disability insurance coverage. And at the end of the day, maybe most importantly, he wanted to know that his family was protected financially when he did die, inevitably, through the life insurance policy. Well, after being told multiple times, yes, your life insurance will remain in place. Yes, your premiums are being deducted out of your long-term disability benefits check for life insurance to keep that coverage in place. When the gentleman finally did pass away, his wife goes to the employer and says, okay, tell me what I need to do to collect on the life insurance policy. And the employer said, no problem. Here's how you submit your claim. The claim went to the insurance company, and the insurance company said, hey, we don't have to pay this claim, even though the employer was deducting premium payments the whole way until the gentleman died, because there was never a conversion application filed to convert that policy to an individual policy. And the way it works is, the way the insurance policy was set up, it says that once a person is no longer actively at work for a period of 12 months, that group coverage is automatically canceled. And at that point in time, if the insured for life insurance doesn't apply for a converted policy and pay premium after that 1-year mark, that policy is no longer in place. Very simply, all the insured had to do was make that application, pay that nominal little premium, and they would have had access to $1 million in coverage. Now, mind you, they went to the employer and they said, before that year passed up, make sure you tell me everything I need to know to keep these coverages in place. But when that year mark came, which triggered the need to file for that conversion to an individual policy, nobody told him he needed to do that. Nobody told the wife that they needed to do that. But once that conversion didn't take place within 31 days of that 1-year mark after he stopped actively working, the policy was automatically canceled. The insurance company itself was no longer on the hook, because the way it works is the employer is the one who is supposed to tell the insurance company, we now have an individual whose coverage under the group policy is terminate. What that does is trigger the insurance company to send a conversion application to the insured. So ultimately, it wasn't the insurance company's fault. It turned out that it was the employer's fault for not notifying its employee insured that the time had come after a year that the only way they would keep that $1 million life insurance coverage in place was to fill out a conversion application and pay the premium. So what we had to do, because the insurance company was pointing fingers at the employer's pointing fingers back at the insurance company, we sued both of them. And it turns out that the one who had to pay was the employer for failure to notify its employee insured of the need to convert, and for failure to notify them after they asked, hey, what do we have to do to make sure all coverage was in place? Because obviously nobody's going to let life insurance coverage lapse when there's a terminal cancer about to take someone's life. So in the end, we were able to recover. When you go tell the insurance company, hey, we paid premium, hey, nobody told us we needed to convert, you're not going to get any action out of them. They are not going to voluntarily pay you. And when you go to the employer and you say, hey, it looks like somebody dropped the ball, the insurance company's saying you should have notified us, or somebody should have notified us so that we sent in a conversion application. Well, the employer is going to say, oh no, it's the insurance company's fault. You have to bring them both to court. You have to fight it all the way. And at some point in time, one of them is either going to settle or you're going to have to go to judgment. But even if you have to go all the way to judgment, you can win these claims if you've been misinformed or not informed about that need to convert. So don't give up if you have a situation like this. Go to winmybenefits.com. We have lots of information that discusses in further detail what you have to do to win claims such as this. Or better yet, give us a call. We're always happy to discuss these claims. We don't like to see people get taken advantage of, especially after a horrible situation like a terminal illness and a shocking discovery that coverage that you thought was going to protect your family in the future is no longer there. You do not have to take this sitting down. We'll be happy to help. We can talk to you about what your options are and how you can go about getting these benefits that you paid for and that you deserve for your financial future. I hope this was helpful. We just do not like people to give up when there is a chance to win. We would love to speak with you about how we might be able to help you. You have a great day.